Hello, my name's David. This semester I've been serving as the community ambassador for Second Harvest Food Bank. And this semester I've learned a lot of things. I've developed professionally in a professional environment. I have learned the ins and outs of my agency. And I've encountered a lot of situations where I have to critically think. I've immersed myself within the agency as a staff member there. I've been doing unique things like getting forklift trained, operating industrial machinery in the warehouse. I have also been leading tours around the warehouse. And finally, as an ambassador, I have been orientating, recruiting volunteer groups from FSU's campus. And what I do um, as an ambassador is I reach out to RSOs and schedule volunteer orientation times for them where I go into their meeting, present to them about the issue of food insecurity, about the food bank, the do's and don'ts as a volunteer. Um, and then I reach out to the food bank volunteer coordinator, Turner Barnes, and we schedule the volunteer groups to come in during the week where they organize canned food, or they organize canned food. They um, do office work, or they might some days organize frozen meats in the cooler. And I've established a great base of contacts from RSOs who have participated in the volunteering at the food bank with us throughout the whole semester, and it's been great. Yeah, it's been a great semester. So I'm just gonna run through this PowerPoint I have set up for you guys. So basically, the mission of the Second Harvest Food Bank is to feed the hungry in the Big Bend. The Second Harvest Food Bank networks with over 130 partner agencies, which includes schools, churches, homeless shelters, things like that. And another mission of Second Harvest is to educate and engage the community in the fight against hunger. It's important that the volunteers know what the situation of hunger looks like in Leon County and the Big Bend, and it's important that they're passionate about the cause because that brings them out more and more. Second Harvest is a Feeding America member, and if you don't know what Feeding America is the nation's leading domestic hunger relief organization. And basically, Feeding America is a national organization that has a network of over 200 food banks in the United States and provides over 3 million pounds of food. I'm sorry, 3 billion pounds of food nationwide. It's very cool. You've probably heard of me Feeding America before, but yeah, Second Harvest is right under the umbrella of Feeding America. So there are 11 counties in the Big Bend, including Leon, Jefferson, Taylor, Wakulla, Jackson, Liberty, Madison, Franklin, and the Gulf counties. So Second Harvest delivers food to partner agencies in each of these counties to ensure that they have food needed to distribute to serve their clients. So this food bank in Tallahassee reaches out to all of the Big Bend area to make sure people are full. If you don't know much about food insecurity, the U.S. food insecurity rate is roughly at 16%. Unfortunately, Florida's food insecurity rate is around 18, 2 percentage points higher. The U.S. child food insecurity rate nationally is 20%. Florida's rate is around 26. So I don't know. Florida's a pretty big state, but hunger affects us all. And predominantly in Florida, we're dealing with it. And I'm excited and I'm glad to work for a organization that's so passionate about fighting this cause. Something that I've learned as an ambassador this year and working as a food bank at the food bank is that hunger really has no stereotype. Families, children, seniors, homeless, and the working poor, Tallahassee community, college campuses make up our society. And it's hunger isn't really a problem that you can see on a person when you first meet them. They don't have like a sticker on their face when you first see them that says "I'm hungry." Hunger looks like me. Hunger looks like you. Um, it's just an issue, and you can't really tell who's dealing with it. Um, and that's something that I've kind of learned is that it really doesn't have a stereotype. There's no real stigma. But just to put things into perspective, there's 100,000 people in the Big Bend region that are food insecure. and Doak Campbell Stadium holds 82,000. So we could fill Doak Campbell Stadium and more with the amount of people that are food insecure in the Big Bend. Just for some more data, 75% of households report having to choose between paying for food and paying for utility bills. This is something that students are dealing with, except in terms of textbooks and food, and that's something that I'm really trying to push for and, advocate for, is that students are having to pick between textbooks and food. And as a student, you need the essentials, and it's a shame that we're in a society where they're choosing between those two things. One of the last things I'm going to touch on is sources of food. So the Second Harvest Food Bank gets food from farmers, individuals, grocery stores, um, wholesalers, things like that, and they distribute food to children's meal programs, elderly meal sites, food pantries, and soup kitchens, things like that. So the flow of food ranges from a bunch of different areas, and the outsourcing of the food also goes to a variety of areas too. So finally, to touch on some final things, as a volunteer, if you haven't volunteered at the food bank, it's all right. But some things to look out for is, number one, when you have cans of peanut butter, you got to make sure to open the lid to make sure that piece of paper is still there, or else the peanut butter has been contaminated and you need to throw it out. Unfortunately, if you come volunteer at the food bank, you'll realize that we actually do end up throwing out a lot of food because of so many regulations that we have in terms of keeping everything sanitary. Another issue is these big sugar bags of flour, bags of rice. Sometimes you need to look very closely at the bags to make sure there's no holes in them. Even the slightest microscopic hole um, matters, so you have to throw things out like that. And finally, aluminum cans. We have a lot of canned goods that we donate, and something to look out for is make sure they have labels. So you can't just donate a naked aluminum can because no one knows what's inside it, even though you might know because you just picked it up. The people who are receiving the food don't know, and you have to watch out for allergies and things like that. But when volunteering, volunteers need to remember to wear closed-toed shoes and always wear your volunteer badge. No food or drink in the warehouse except for bottled water, and no earbuds in the warehouse as well. So yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing this semester. I've had a great time serving at the food bank, and I look forward to spring 2016 where I can continue my involvement with the food bank as well. Thanks so much, guys.